You have been doing manifestation backwards. That is why you are still stuck. You visualize what you want. You repeat affirmations. You feel into the desired outcome. You do the techniques exactly as the videos instructed, and sometimes it works. Small things appear, a parking spot, a text message, enough to keep you hoping. But your life has not fundamentally changed. The relationship you want is not here. The financial freedom you desire is not here. The version of you that you are trying to become remains out of reach. And so you try harder. You search for the one technique you have not yet discovered, the secret method that will finally make it work. But the problem is not your technique. The problem is not your consistency. The problem is not your worthiness. The problem is that you are operating from a fundamental misunderstanding of how reality actually works. You have been told to attract what you want, to pull it towards you, to manifest it into existence. That is backwards. You are not attracting reality. You are selecting it. And once you understand this distinction, everything changes. This video will show you exactly how. Let me be direct about what manifestation actually is. It is not the process of creating something from nothing. It is not the act of pulling a desired outcome from the future into the present. It is not about sending your intentions out into the universe and waiting for them to return. Manifestation is selection. You are not manifesting outcomes. You are manifesting yourself. You are selecting which version of you to be, and reality reorganizes to reflect that version. Here is the distinction most people miss. When you say, I want to manifest abundance, what you are actually saying is, I am currently the person who does not have abundance, and I am trying to become the person who does. That assumption that you are not yet the person is what keeps you locked in lack, because reality does not respond to what you want. Reality responds to who you are being. And if you are being the person who is trying to attract abundance, you will continue to experience the state of trying, not the state of having. This is what I call the fool's equation. The fool's equation is this: I will be happy if I get X. I will be happy if I manifest the relationship. I will be happy if I receive the money. I will be happy if my circumstances change. This equation is backwards because it places your state of being as dependent on an external outcome. But your state of being is not the result of what you have. Your state of being is the cause of what you experience. You do not become abundant because you receive money. You receive money because you have become the person to whom abundance already belongs. You do not become loved because someone chooses you. Someone choosing you is the reflection of you already being the version of you who is deeply, completely loved. The shift is not from lack to having. The shift is from trying to attract to recognizing you already are. This is not semantics. This is mechanism. And the reason most people fail at manifestation is because they are looking for evidence in a place that can never show it to them. Let me explain. Here is what no one tells you about the external world. It is not showing you what is possible. It is showing you who you have been. The reality you see around you right now, your bank account, your relationships, your circumstances, is not a reflection of what you are becoming. It is a reflection of the state of being you have been occupying up until this moment. Think of it like this. Your mind operates like a filter. Every experience you have ever had, every belief you have ever accepted as true, every assumption you have held about yourself, all of it creates a lens through which you perceive reality, and you can only see reality through that lens. If you have spent years being the person who struggles financially, your mind has built a filter that shows you a reality where money is scarce, opportunities are limited, and success belongs to other people. That filter is not showing you the full picture. It is showing you the version of reality that matches the identity you have been occupying. And here's the critical part. Even when you decide to change, even when you declare a new identity, the external world does not immediately update. It cannot, because what you are seeing is the echo of who you were, not the manifestation of who you are becoming. This is why looking for signs in the external world is a trap. When you visualize abundance and then check your bank account to see if it has increased, you are looking through the filter of the person who does not yet have abundance. And that filter will only show you lack, not because abundance is not available to you, but because you are still being the person who cannot see it. Let me give you a concrete example. Imagine a woman who has spent her entire life believing that all romantic partners eventually leave her. She has evidence. She has memories. She has proof. That belief has created a filter. Now she discovers the law of assumption. She decides that she is the version of herself who is deeply loved, chosen, and committed to. She visualizes it. She affirms it. She feels into it. But then she goes out into the world and looks for evidence. She checks her phone. She analyzes interactions. She searches for signs that the universe is delivering her desired outcome. And here is what happens. Her filter, the one built from years of being the person who gets abandoned, shows her reality through that lens. A good man approaches her, but because she is still looking through the filter of the old identity, she cannot see him clearly. She interprets his kindness as manipulation. She assumes his interest is temporary. She gives his actions negative meaning, and so she dismisses him. Or she sabotages the connection. Or she remains blind to the perfection that is already in front of her, not because he was not the right person, but because she was still being the person who could not see the right person. This is the mechanism that keeps people stuck. You cannot see what you are not yet being. And as long as you are looking to the external world for validation, you are operating from the identity that needs validation, which means you are still being the person who does not have what you claim to want. The system calculates the route. It accounts for traffic. It accounts for road closures. It accounts for variables you cannot see. And then it tells you, turn right in 500 feet. You have two options. Option 1, trust the system. Follow the directions. Arrive at your destination in 20 minutes. Option 2, second guess the system. You see a shortcut. You think you know better. You take a different turn. The system recalculates. Now it says 44 minutes. You feel anxious. You check the map obsessively. You convince yourself the GPS is broken. You take another wrong turn. Now it says 1 hour. This is what happens when you try to manifest while simultaneously checking the external world for proof. You set the destination. You declare, I am abundant. I am loved. I am successful. That declaration is you entering the coordinates into the system, and then infinite intelligence, that the part of you that is not limited by linear thinking, begins orchestrating the path, but you do not trust it. You see that your bank account has not changed, and you panic. You take a wrong turn. You re-identify with lack. You see that the person you desire has not reached out, and you spiral. You take another wrong turn. You re-identify with rejection. Every time you look to the external world for validation, you are telling the system, I do not trust that I have already arrived. Show me proof before I believe. And in doing so, you extend the journey, because you are not being the person who has already arrived. You are being the person who is still trying to get there. Here is what you must understand. The moment you decide who you are, the moment you declare, I am the version of me to whom this already belongs. You have set the destination. Everything that happens after that is the path unfolding. But the path does not look like what you expect. It looks like your current circumstances. It looks like delays. It looks like obstacles, not because you are failing, but because you are still perceiving reality through the filter of who you were. Your job is not to control the path. Your job is not to figure out how it will happen. Your job is to remain the person who has already arrived, regardless of what the external world is showing you, because what the external world is showing you is not the truth. It is the echo of your old state of being, and the more you react to that echo, the longer you remain in it. Let's ground this in evidence. The scientific layer, Dr. Joe Dispenza has documented this mechanism in his research. When individuals enter a coherent meditative state and emotionally feel the reality of their desired outcome before it has manifested, their biology changes. Genes are signaled. Proteins are produced. The body begins to look like the desired outcome has already occurred. This is not visualization as a mental exercise. This is the body being programmed to match a future state that has been selected in the present moment. The quantum field contains all possibilities simultaneously. You are not creating a new possibility. You are collapsing the wave function into the singular experience that matches your state of being. Your state of being is the frequency. Reality is the radio. You do not create the station. You tune to it. The philosophical layer. Neville Goddard taught this with surgical precision. He said, "Creation is finished." All versions of your life already exist. The version where you are abundant, the version where you are loved, the version where you are free. You are not manifesting those versions into existence. You are assuming the identity of the version to whom those realities already belong. Neville called this living in the end, not visualizing the end as a future goal, but being the end now, not I will be abundant when the money arrives, but I am abundant, and the money is a reflection of that truth. The assumption comes first. The evidence follows. For many years, I operated from the fool's equation. I believed that if I meditated deeply enough, if I visualized clearly enough, if I held the feeling state long enough, reality would finally deliver what I wanted. And it actually did, every time. I have been able to manifest everything I've ever wanted for over a decade. But I oscillated from having to losing for years. I'd obtain my desires, but just as quickly as they arrived, they left like sand slipping through my fingers. My life did not fundamentally shift until I stopped trying to attract outcomes and started recognizing that I was already the totality experiencing itself from a localized perspective. All I needed to do was choose to be me. The moment I stopped seeking and started being, everything I had been trying to manifest appeared. Not because I had finally done the technique correctly. I've always done the techniques correctly and always do. But because I was no longer the man who needed it to appear, I had become the man to whom it already belonged by realizing I have always been. And reality had no choice but to reflect that. Here is a nuance most teachers miss. You do not need to feel good to manifest what you want. The fool's equation assumes that happiness is conditional, that you must feel abundant to experience abundance, that you must feel loved to experience love. But your emotional state and your state of being are not the same thing. Your state of being is your assumption of identity, who you are declaring yourself to be in this moment. Your emotional state is the temporary experience of that identity filtered through your nervous system. You can be deeply melancholic and still be the person to whom abundance belongs. You can feel anxious and still be the person who is loved. You can experience doubt and still be the person who is successful. Because your feelings are not the cause. Your identity is the cause. The reason most manifestation teaching fails is because it conflates emotional state with state of being. It tells you that if you are not feeling good, you are doing it wrong. That if you experience fear or doubt, you have fallen out of alignment. But that is not how it works. You are not trying to maintain a constant feeling of positivity. You are maintaining the assumption of identity regardless of how you feel. The feelings will shift. The circumstances will shift. The external world will continue to show you the echo of who you were. Your job is to remain the person you have declared yourself to be, not because it feels good, but because it is true. And when you do that, reality reorganizes. Not because you forced it, but because you stopped being the person who was resisting it. Let me guide you into this recognition right now. If you are in a space where you can close your eyes, do it. If not, soften your gaze. Take a deep breath in through your nose. Slow and full. Hold it briefly at the top. Now exhale through your mouth, long and controlled, as if you are breathing through a straw. Again, in through the nose. Hold. Out through the mouth. One more time. Breathe deeply. Let your body relax completely. Now notice, what is aware of the breath? What is aware of the thought, I want to manifest abundance? What is aware of the feeling of lack, of doubt, of fear? That awareness, that silent, unchanging presence, is what you are. Not the wanting, not the lacking, not the trying. You are the awareness in which all of that appears. And here's what that means. That awareness is not trying to attract anything. It is not seeking anything. It is not becoming anything. It is already the totality, already complete, already whole. The person who is trying to manifest is a temporary character within that awareness. The feelings of lack belong to that character. The story of struggle belongs to that character. But you are not the character. You are the awareness in which the character appears. And from that recognition, you are free to select, not to attract, not to create, to select. Which version of you will you be today? The abundant version, the loved version, the free version? You do not need to earn it. You do not need to convince anyone, including yourself. You simply decide, and you remain that decision regardless of what the external world is showing you, because the external world is not the truth. It is the echo. And the more you remain anchored in your decision, the faster the echo updates. Manifestation is not backwards because you are doing the techniques incorrectly. It is backwards because you are operating from the fool's equation. I will be happy if I get what I want. That equation makes your state of being dependent on external outcomes. And as long as your state of being is dependent, you remain in the state of dependence. The shift is simple. Stop trying to attract what you want. Start being the version of you to whom it already belongs. Not as a technique, as a recognition. You are not a person trying to manifest reality. You are reality, temporarily experiencing itself from a localized perspective. And from that perspective, you are free to select which version of you to be. The external world will show you the echo of who you were. That is not evidence that you are failing. That is evidence that you are still perceiving through the old filter. Your job is not to change the external world. Your job is to stop giving it the authority to define who you are. When you do that, the filter updates, and what was invisible becomes visible. What was impossible becomes inevitable. This is not manifestation. This is selection. And selection does not require effort. It requires clarity. It requires conviction. It requires the willingness to remain the person you have declared yourself to be, even when the external world has not yet caught up. Morning, day, night. Decide who you are. Remain that person. Watch reality reorganize. You are not attracting your life. You are selecting it. And now you know exactly how. Thank you. Remember, you are reality.